Go live, young lady. Go live. See what's going on in the world of, it says, waiting for garden quilt and art show. No, we are not waiting. We are here, willing and able. Hello, Unbiased LLC. Hello, and welcome to the GQUAT Garden Quilt and Art Family Reunion Bus. Maria Graham, thank you for coming. Kelly, I bring it every day. I've been watching you cooking, shopping, everything. I am so far behind. I give everybody the thumbs up, but getting back and leaving comments, I'm just lost in the sauce. Lost in the sauce. So I hope everybody's having a good day. Here in New England in Zone 6A, guess what? I think winter forgot to come here. We had like one little snow that was like plowable, maybe two, and that's it. But because the devil's always busy, I've seen it snow in May here in Connecticut. And ain't nobody trying to get snow in May. We're ready for Mardi Gras, ready for Easter. Oh, you guys, Easter is in March this year. Oy vey. The world is going too stuff. It's moving too fast for the kid. As Richard Pryor says, I can't stop this mug. Moving too fast for the kid. Yankee Sister Homestead. Thank you for coming and welcome, welcome, welcome. Unbiased LLC. You're back, you're back, you're back. A to Z Crafty Shop. I'm glad you two are both on here because Unbiased Yankee Sister is trying to reach you, but she's not in your phone book, in your phone numbers. So you're probably not getting notices because that happens to me. So I think you guys need to email each other and then exchange phone numbers. So, all of you who are here, those of you who are here for the replay, welcome. Moderators, thank you. Let me get my phone so I can see. Bouger Prepper, the squatting queen up in here. Bouger, you look phenomenal. For those of you who do not know, there is a challenge going on. Bouger Prepper, who is here in the chat, has started it. You can go to her page and they're doing all kind of fancy squats. Squats to the left, squats to the right, squats going sideways, feet up, feet down, doing a little bit of everything. I do squats every day. I've been doing them. Oh my gosh. I want to say 60 years, whatever. I was on the gymnastics team actually in high school, and I played all kind of sports, everything. But hey, Mike, I saw you and the squirrel versus the bird fight. You guys want to see somebody into hydroponics who is king of growing indoors hydroponically. He and GT Junior Grows in Alaska are doing a grow off called WIG hashtag WIG 2023. But let me finish welcoming everybody. Mother, hello, mommy. I love you. I know you're watching. Somebody has it on your TV for you. You guys, I told you that there are 6 living generations of my family. This channel is not just about me, it's a variety channel, and it does just what that little name up there says. We talk about gardening, cooking from scratch, quilting, all of what they call the heritage arts, the things that everybody's grandma used to do. I'm somebody's great great grandma, and I do it, and I learned it from my grandma and great grandma. Hello, I saw somebody come in. Barb Brownlee. I see people speaking to you. Yankee Sister. Oh, she's going to text Unbiased. I'm like, don't be texting me. Can't nobody reach out with her. And she knows people need help in their garden over here. She's got all these grow hoops and stuff. You just wait. You just wait. And she ain't sewing anything. A to Z Crafty Shop. How are you doing? Hope your house is drying out and everything is coming back together after all the flooding and everything. That was rough. Sharita Panky. That is my only granddaughter, you guys. And she's saying, yes, mommy is on. And by the way, when we say mommy, my kids and grandkids have never called me mommy. I'm like ma, front and center, like ma, over here, ma. But when they say mommy, we're talking about mother, Mommy Clara, the Queen Mum, as we call her, with her fancy self. Hello, Mother. Maria Graham is saying, hi, Sharita Panky. Miss Karen, Karen's little garden. I've been watching you, neighbor. You're not that far away. Sharita Panky says, Mommy's smiling. Don't give her her phone. You know, my mother was the first senior citizen 20 years ago that had an iPhone. I just recently got an iPhone in the last couple of years so that I could participate in the family chat. They have family FaceTime. You push one button and 12 faces appear. Mike's Chaotic Gardening is saying, hi, Sharita. Mike is, all the people in green are channel members, Sharita, and they pay a subscription, a small subscription of $1.99 a month. I might have to hit my granddaughter up for $1.99. Mike's Chaotic Gardening saying, hello, mother. Hello, mother. When I say mother, she knows I'm just trying to be a smart behind. Just a smart behind. Maria Graham saying, hi, Mom Panky. Mommy's the one that taught me how to knit, crochet, her, my grandmother. Except I wouldn't listen to mommy. She knits the European way. She holds one finger still, Kelly, and one needle, and then she uses the other one to do all the work, like a crochet hook. And she goes, "Hey, Gigi, Gina, Mr. Hershey, he hears me saying mommy Clara, and here he is. He wants to say hello to everybody. Hi, Gamma. Hi, Grandma. Mr. Hershey's blind, for those of you who don't know, and he got his hair did earlier this week, and his little bandana on, and whenever he gets his hair cut, he starts feeling insecure. I actually have to keep wipe my hands off. I actually have to keep his sweater on in the house, except the two sweaters that he's been wearing are too big for him. He just walks out of them with his hair cut. So, mommy, I hand wash his little red sweater, and it's hanging in the bathroom drying out. Mike said he's dapper. He's smooth. Yankee sister says, cute haircut, Mr. Hershey. So, how many? Oh, can you guys wait 1 minute? I'm going to do something I should not be doing, but I'm going to do it anyway because that's what I do. And I hope I don't kill it by doing this. Dun, 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 dun. For those of you who don't know, I proudly would like to tell you that I, Ellen Pankey, at the age of 74 years young, I won the WIG Grow Off in 2022. Today is 2 weeks. I shouldn't be holding this water over my keyboard, knowing I can't afford another computer. And you see all the roots coming out? Look at this. 2 weeks today. I didn't know about the root system because it didn't look that good at the top. Like I said, what happened was I'll leave him out for a little while. I hope I don't forget him and don't forget to put him back in the hydroponics. Sharita say hello, everyone. Hi, Hershey Popeye. Sharita is the reason that Hershey has kids, you guys. She's the one that was babysitting when Hershey and Mrs. Hershey conceived both times. And she sold all the puppies. She babysat them. when they were young, up to 6 to 8 weeks, because I wasn't able to do it. I had some health issues. Sharita did everything, changed the paper, bottle fed them, fed me too, for that matter, brought my meals upstairs to the second floor because I couldn't go up and down. She's the best granddaughter I ever had. Oh, that's right. She's the only granddaughter I ever had. She's a doll. And she's the one that cooks all the meals in the house. And she and her mom cook the big family meals. I'm not allowed in the kitchen. I'm not allowed in the kitchen. But I cook in my house and tear it up and drop everything on the floor. So, how many of you are working on a project? And Pi said she's the only one. She's number one. She's special. She's special. And they're all special. I wish I had more, hint, 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 more great grandchildren, more grandchildren. Nobody is cooperating. Nobody's cooperating. So you guys have become family. All almost 1,500 of you. Why? Because good friends become family, and family is everything. Speaking of Sharita and the kids, the way I was raised in our tradition, when we have family holidays and everything, we always fed the elders first. And Sharita is devout in that. Like all the big family meals, sometimes mom and I don't go into the big dining room table. We sit in the den with trays, mommy in her cozy comfort chair, me on one of those sofas that the feet go up, and we sit and talk. And Sharita and her mom come bring us appetizers, her and the kids bring our plates, something to drink, not a libation. Trust me, they're making sure that Nana is not on the road, intoxicated in any way, or walking to the car with a libation under her belt. And Sharita crochets, you guys. Her mother does not. I never had time to teach my daughter. I was a young mom, and I was busy working and doing the thing that young parents do. Mike says hint, hint, hint. Yes. And she bakes the coconut cakes that you've ever seen on this site. This channel features cooking, gardening from the whole family, all 6 generations. Joanne Stevens to Erica Taylor says, hello, everyone. I wanted to give you guys a little hint on what I do to get 15 minutes in a day. Sorry, my allergies are acting up. I used my allergy spray just before I came on. Hershey's over there sitting between myself and the door. Why? Because he's a 10-pound guard dog. He's supposed to be a therapy dog. He has his little vest, but he protects his Nana, which is why we had him trained to do that. And he's really good about obedience. He's a gentle dog unless you come near me and I'm in the bed, or you get between me and the door and try to go out. Then he starts sea walking around the place. He turns into a rough dude. So what I do when I have a task to do, or something I have on my vision board, something I really don't want to do, I tell myself I'm not going to do my pleasurable thing, whether it's eating dinner, having some Italian ice, calling a special friend, checking in on the chat. I don't do any of those things until I spend 15 minutes doing something I hate, something I have to do, something I don't want to do. Then my reward is whatever the good deed is, like calling my mom, calling the kids. Yankee Sister said, Mr. Hershey and she is cool. He's cool. He's good. So put a 1 in the chat if you're gardening, if everybody has started their gardening for 2023. Oh, Bouger Prepper. My surgery is Tuesday, the 13th, and I will be up that day walking, doing things, whatever. And I'm going to register myself in the squat contest. Blind, crippling, crazy. I'm the bionic woman. I have more bionic parts than my husband's two El Rancheros with the big engines and all the chrome and all the leather and fancy paint jobs. So most of you are gardening. Sharita likes to garden. My granddaughter, she would poke her little fingers in the hole and plant things when she was a tiny baby. I would have her in the kitchen on a little step stool. She couldn't reach the counter, and she would be making Kool-Aid. Then, when she was in high school, I would be working, and she would get home from school ahead of me. Better, stronger, faster, Mike says. She would get home, and I would leave like 8 o'clock in the morning. I worked long days, and I wouldn't get home until 6 at night. Sharita cooked dinner every night. Sometimes you would go in the kitchen, and her little friends would be making Spanish food from scratch. Empanadas. I don't even know all the food she and the little girl next door used to make. There were two people on my block. There were two sisters that were Mexican, and they were married to two brothers, and they loved me. I would wake up some Saturdays, and I would hear the lawnmower close to my patio door. My bedroom had like a patio door, and one of the husbands would be cutting my grass while they cut theirs. We love that one. I'm not going to be still. I'm going to broadcast from the hospital. Oh, yes, I am. I'm going to do, as soon as I figure out how, I will do a pop up live either from my phone or my iPad. And then next Thursday, a week from today, I might be doing a live from the bed. There's somebody who crochets Drini, and she's a crocheter, and she used to broadcast from like a bed or a chair. Wellness for Frugal Mama. I've been watching you with the hula hoop and all that stuff. I haven't hula hooped since I was like 7 years old. Indoor starting hydroponics for now, but starting seeds outdoor. Bob Brunley, aren't you in zone 5A? Well, I won't be able to get to my garden where I personally live. I'm a guerrilla gardener. I garden at Auntie Joanne's house. I posted her garden. It's doing phenomenal, especially after the monsoons in 9A. I have stuff planted at my mother's house, perennials. I just take over wherever I go. Auntie Joanne Stevens, said one time she saw a bumper sticker that reminded her of me. It said that heaven doesn't want me and hell is afraid I'll take over. I probably will. I probably will. So let's get moving on. But I'm gonna put this up, if you don't mind, real quickly, because I drop things. If this thing goes under the couch or somewhere where I can't reach it, I won't have anybody to help me get it until tomorrow. I'm back. So I appreciate if all you guys give me the thumbs up so the algorithm can do something with the channel. I wrote down a couple things I wanted to talk to you about. One thing, it's Black History Month, and I wanted to talk about quilting. Well, quilts in general. And there is a group of quilters from Gee's Bend, Alabama, and these quilters were Black quilters that lived in a very, very bad area of town. They were cut off from the mainland, like by a little bridge or something. Nobody had any running water, no septic tanks. It was rough. But some of these women would get together and they would recycle old clothes, like the fancy quilters. People with money used to go to the store and they would buy cotton, they would buy unbleached muslin, they would buy yardage, they would have fabric shipped in from Europe for the fancy dresses, the satin and whatnot. But the poor people, whether white or black, use leftover whatever. They would use the inside of pockets. Why? Because the inside would not be worn out. The clothes would be worn to shreds. So these G's Ben quilters were selling their quilts for like nothing, for pennies. And then one day, I don't know, the 60s, 70s, a couple of collectors, white and black, went there and discovered these amazing textured quilts and wrote books about them and started selling them. And the people who bought them from the G's Ben quilters made fortunes. These women made nothing. Just recently, there's been a commercial effort to help them get paid for the replicas of their quilts. People are taking old quilts and going into thrift stores and getting things that were done by hand. Joanne Stevens, when I was out there, and I went in a secondhand store and she bought an amazing quilt that had been hand appliqued, hand quilted. She had it in a bag. We were leaving the store in a parking lot and somebody was walking up to her. They could see the quilt in the bag and wanted to see it. People don't appreciate all the work that goes into these things. Barb Brownlee said she's in 5B, 6A, but you couldn't tell that today. It was 60 degrees, sunny and windy, dropping in the 30s next week. Wow. Wellness with Frugal Mama. Thank you. Thank you for being a channel member. I appreciate each and every one of you, you moderators, people in the bushes, for those who are new, tuning in the first time. When myself and other content creators say in the bushes, what it means is that you look at the channel, but you're not in the chat or participating in the text. Like Sharita is in my mother's room watching on the TV, but she's chatting on her phone. I don't know what her. Wait a minute. Let me see. Let me go up. I just had an idea. Let me see if I can find her. I can make her a moderator because she's very. Okay, I'm trying to. Just a minute. I'm trying to. Oh, I see. Hold on just 1 minute. I'm trying to. Boucher Prepper. Okay. Bouger is now in the blue and she's a moderator. And because I need some help, Sharita works in the school system. She's really smart at figuring out things, how to add technology, do other things. And Nana needs some help. Nana needs some help. Okay, so I'll go to the bottom of the chat because I have casings 55. Thank you for coming and welcome, welcome, welcome. I appreciate each and every one of you. So let me do a little mail haul because guess what happened? This is what I sit on when I'm not able to do it anymore. But when I used to sew like 8, 10, 12 hours a day, on my long arm, I would stand at the machine. But look at this. This is like the inner tube in a tire. This fat booty sat on it, I guess, one too many times, plopped on it too hard. I sit on a metal chair with no wheels because yes, Erica Taylor, that's what I was going to get to about the Target quilting. And that's why I have this jacket here, because I want to tell you guys, and I'm getting other stuff out of the way. Thank you for reminding me. So this is called a gypsy sit-upon, and what it does, it keeps your back straight. You will never have any back problems. Your back doesn't hurt when you sit on these. And it has this. Am I going to throw it away? Oh, heck no. Or HELL to the no. That's can't say a bad stuff with mommy watching. She'll tell me afterwards. She'll say, I heard you. You did this. You weren't raised like that. You were being bad. So this one has a hole in it. Dun, 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 dun. It will become a plant stand. Well, see, that's why I put the plant up, because I drop things. My hands don't hold it. So guess what? Oh, that's different. Or maybe it did before. So here is the new one. I like mine kind of deflated. The other one lasted 10 years. If this one lasts another 10 years, I will be happy. Maria Graham just got one. But guess what? HE double hockey sticks. No. Yeah, HE double hockey sticks to the L. So look what it comes with. It comes with. Dun, 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 dun. I used to use my great grandson's basketball pump. Unbiased. Yeah, the reason I use a metal chair is because I think it was last year when I was working on the WIG Grow Off. I was sitting there, and you know how we're distracted doing our content and videoing. And I was videoing, and I went to sit back, and guess what? I missed the chair. I missed the chair and went straight down. That really hurt for a few weeks. So you get this gypsy sit-upon, and somewhere is the little thingy that I broke out. I have a difficulty seeing dark things, but it's in here. And you use this pump, and you pump it up to the height that you want. Or if the air starts leaking out because your big butt squished it out some kind of way, wiggling around on it all day. But I will get some Hawkeye person. I live about an hour. I still don't see the place where you put this. I live about an hour away from Sharita and Mommy. Oh, there it is. Right here. And you know what? That's probably what happened. The air got low in it, and pop goes the weasel. And I fell on it, and it broke. You need one of those, Unbiased? Go on, our favorite shopping channel, Amazon, and Google. I mean, just click Gypsy Sit-Upon. I bought it and it was on sale. It cost less when I bought this one than the one I bought 10 years ago. Pop in the cushions, all that. Baby got back, Unbiased. She really, really does. She really does. Barb Brownlee says, Auntie Ellen, you are hilarious. I was always getting in trouble because of this. Because of that. So, going back to what Erica Taylor was saying, Target has taken to, they're publicizing it for Black History Month, and they're taking all these old G's Ben quilts. Hello, Nikki, the everyday life of an OCD-ish chick. And they're taking the patterns from the old quilt, not the quilts themselves. They're taking like a photo of them and printing them, and they're making jackets. They're making totes. They're making a whole line of linens. and ready to wear things. But am I going to buy one? Oh, no, 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 no. I like G's Ben quilts, but Auntie Ellen's quilts are the bomb diggity too. I'm not famous because I'm not in any famous groups, but the what I wanted to tell you is that I can teach you guys how to make a real quilt. This is a jacket, a quilted jacket. This is the back. Shh, hushy, hushy. Just a minute, you guys. Hershey, stop. I won't let me mute this. Hershey, come. Come on. We're not doing this. So I guess, can you guys hear me? Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Hello, DCSIL. Erica Taylor says you were correct. And I'm not bragging, but I am a master quilter, like a craftsman and apprentice and whatnot. I just come here because I want to share what my family shared with me. And I learned all these things. But look at this. This is original. There's nothing at Target that looks like this. Not downing it. I love it. I love the fact that they're promoting African American artists. I like any folk art that is promoted. And folk art is anything that you do that's like rustic, you create yourself. You are an artist, and each of you can do this. This is made out of 4-inch strips that I sewed together 1 by 1 by 1, and it's called a snake. Then I bought a sweatshirt that was 3 sizes. You buy a sweatshirt that's 3 sizes too big. Anybody that wants to take a class on it, we can do a Zoom class. And the whole jacket was supposed to be with these squares. And I made them so they didn't line up exactly. And I used the sweat jacket that I cut open, laid it out. I used that as a pattern, right? Then I laid this snake on top of it in rows, like train tracks, but not parallel. And I sewed them down. Then when I got to the arms, I'm like, oh my goodness, bump that. This is like a yard of fabric. So I just used one single fabric. This one happens to be an adinkra symbol for the word for love. But anybody wanting to do that, you can do that. I made this with African fabrics. I've made others with Asian fabrics. I've made others with flowers. Do I have them? No. Why? Because they got sold. Every time I finish something, as soon as I finish it, it goes. I don't own a quilt. I plan on keeping this one for myself. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And the Target wasn't far from what the Dollar Tree. Thank you, those who like the jacket. I went to a quilt show, and as soon as I walked in, I was actually working at the quilt show. I was a judge in this quilt show in North Carolina at the convention center, and which is huge. This quilt show had like 400 quilts in it. Gina says she loves the jacket. I want you guys to make one with me. I want you guys to do it. And it's not hard to do. And my sister says, don't say it's simple. I'm not saying it's simple. You just have to commit that you want to put some time into doing it. So, speaking of which, because we're going to go do some sewing in just a minute, because we're working on that table runner, and I'm going to show you how to make a quilted table quilt binding and how to miter the corners. This quilt in back of me, I plan on keeping. Oh yeah, last time I got up and walked away, and I dropped a link, and Yankee's sister sashayed over here. Hello, Planter Garden TV. I believe Planter goes on later on today. I know Miss Shirley, the OC, Miss Shirley OG goes live later on. Odom goes live. I think Grow Big TV goes live, maybe Vision Preparedness. But I just want to say that most of you have more than one device. You can support more than one channel. Sometimes I have three things going and I miss chats. And I hear some people say, "Oh, I'm not speaking to them. I spoke to them in a chat and they didn't say anything." In all fairness, I do want to say this: some people are distracted or on one device and then they can't see the chat on the other. Like when I look at StreamYard, I can't see the chat unless what? I bring up my phone and put it on mute, because otherwise I get that weird feedback and everything. I'm still trying to figure out how to put another device, another camera on, so that you guys can see closer the to the machine needle. Wellness says she's working. Good. Grown folks supposed to be working 4 o'clock and during the day on the East Coast, 1 o'clock on the West Coast, and all the times in between. And that's why I really appreciate you guys are really like family, because you do come here to support me. So one more thing before we go over there. Oh, this is a puzzle for my great great grandson that I have to take to him on Sunday for my Rai Rai. And that is my granddaughter's grandson, Rylan is. Tori's Brain, thank you for coming and welcome. Planter Garden TV will be starting his herb challenge on March 1st. Oh, don't worry. Daddy, I planted a little, I put out a quick video today, a short, in honor of Cheryl Faulkner, whose birthday I believe is Saturday. And if you haven't done so, I think you put HBCF, hashtag HBCF, and it means happy birthday, Cheryl Faulkner. She's been a supporter of a lot of our channels, and then she became a content creator, and she's severely having health problems. She's in hospice. But I thought of something when I did my video today, the short, because Daddy used to say, don't plant a garden unless you plan to be there to take care of it. His parents were farmers. And when he was leaving North Carolina to come to Connecticut to marry mommy, he told his dad, don't plant a big, a big, not harvest, because they sold their food. They sold their crops for food. That's what they did. They were farmers. They were sharecroppers. And he told his dad not to plant a big garden because he was going to Connecticut and marry that little girl, Clara. That's you, mother. Yep. And live happily ever after. Take care of us 6 kids. So I thought about Daddy, and the WIG grow off had already started. And he said, Pen, that's what Daddy called the good daughter. Pen, don't plant a garden unless you're going to be there to take care of it. So I'm having this big surgery next week, but you never know what happens. And so I planted this garden exactly 2 weeks ago so that it wouldn't get beyond what I could handle after my surgery next week. After my surgery, I will be getting my other 2 Aero Garden. They're hydroponics out, and I will plant more seeds. But the 6 pod is all that I could handle right now and take care of. And I am. After all, I did. Let me just throw this in there. Did I mention that I won the first WIG grow off? I was the queen of it. So I'm just doing it for fun. But these Tiny Tim tomatoes get massive. So I put 2 in the 2 back holes. And then I looked at one, it had 3. They were choking one brother out. So I took that, or sister, I don't know, and I put it in the front one that the lettuce didn't grow in. But when I get out of the hospital next week, I have some little soil, or I'll order some. And my It says the winner and heavyweight champion of the grow off, Auntie Ellen. Yes. So, yes, I'm going to be here to take care of it. And I want to say this 10 years ago, I was in a coma. The doctors didn't think I would live, and I came back. So I planted this garden because I'm going to be back to plant this garden. And Cheryl, we are praying for you and you, so that you can come back and enter the grow off and plant your garden. So that's my prayer. So the last thing before I go over to the machine, and that's this quilt. Da, 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 da. That's the top. It is 59 inches wide and 78 inches tall, which is 6 foot, 6.5 feet, I think, 68 inches. And I was going to make it 7 feet. Why? Because my brothers are all 6 foot or over 6 feet. They're 6'4", 6'2". I have a nephew 6'7". My great grandson, Sharita's son, is 15 and he's 6'2". He's outgrown two of his quilts already. So I'm making bigger quilts. He wouldn't want all these flowers in purple. No, he would not him. But I'm making this planning to keep it for myself. But if I have company and they're on the couch or something, they can cover up and have plenty of room. So let me show you the fabrics that made the audition for the back of this one. It's actually going to be double-sided. So this, Mike saying, love you, Cheryl Faulkner. We love you, Cheryl, my sister friend. So I have this piece that I'm going to put smack dab in the middle of the back of this quilt. Okay. Then, because it's like a rainbow, to show you where the rainbow stops, what I'm going to do is put like a little 4-inch border of this hand dyed black brown fabric. I don't know. I wish you could see it. It's like dark chocolate that's melted and soft. It is so, 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 so nice. Then after that, after the brown, just so that you can see it, and I'm going to make it like log cabin style. Those of you who know what a log cabin is, it's something that's in rows and it goes around and around. So after I put the brown, I'm going to put the yellow, then the green, and then it'll be big hunks until I get to almost 7 feet, and then the green, just like a rainbow is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. So we'll catch the yellow, green, blue, no purple because there's enough purple on the front, and I don't want to waste my good purple fabric. Do you have to interface the bandana fabric? Please make a community post with HBCF 2024. That is for each of you. Mike, I don't know how to drop it. If you know how to, but oh, wait a minute. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. But I did post hashtag HBCF 2024 on my video today, on my short in honor of Cheryl Faulkner. Then in the description, I wrote what the HBCF was for. So you guys, you see this? Dun, 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 dun. So this is going to be colorful, but not overly colorful. And then this in the middle. So I'm proud of that. Unbiased asked a question. If I have to interface the bandana fabric, what bandana fabric, Cheryl? I don't, um, you mean this piece? This one's not actually a bandana. If you're talking about this one is pretty thick. It's just a finished piece of, oh, it's hand dyed. It's hand dyed. What do you call it? They used to do it back in my day in the 70s. Tie dyed. It's actually hand tie dyed. And they sewed the edges so that it wouldn't ravel. A lot of the fabrics that you get, like from Africa, so that it won't ravel, they do so much work with it, dyeing it, dipping it in all the different colors. They hand dyed all these different colors in here. So what they will do, they will sew the edges or serge them sometimes. Maybe this is some type of serging, but it's pretty heavy, so you don't have to. But I would say, as far as using this in a quilt, for this quilt, no, I won't have to, because all the other fabrics, this is actually as heavy as the other fabrics that I will be putting them with. Actually, most of these fabrics are hand dyed. This green might even be an Asian fabric. These are, I'll show you. You can tell by the edges of fabric what is good fabric. You don't want to know. You might have to take a second mortgage on your house, y'all, or borrow from your 401k. And I'm not like trying to show off. I'm just trying to show you guys what these fabrics are. Oh, I guess this is another one, Wyndham Fabrics. But these are nicely fabrics. I don't use, like, would I use this fabric in, say, a neck bone pillow, a dog bone pillow? No, heck to the no. Or HE to the railroad tracks? No, I would not use them. But for a quilt, something I'm going to have 20 years, a quilt, if you make it properly, can last you 100 years. Now, I have a couple quilts, and let's see, maybe Saturday, maybe not Saturday, maybe after my surgery, I will bring it out because I have a memory quilt made out of my dad's old clothes. Nikki says nice, pretty colors. And I've been using this quilt almost every day for 10 years. It's almost like a weighted blanket, which is used for like people with PTSD, people with emotional problems, like the weighted blankets. It's like that because it's made out of his old shirts and jeans, and then cotton, and then flannel. Some of his old shirts, because they were old when I used them, are literally worn through and the cotton is poking out. Am I going to throw my quilt away? Nope. I'm going to make some patches, patch it over. And then, since I put on a couple little pounds since I made it, I'm going to make the quilt longer and wider as well. So I don't know if I showed you this. I don't know. Think I showed you this one. I don't know who this one is by. And then sometimes people gift me fabrics. My daughter worked in the fashion field for a long time, most of her whole career. She has her own consulting business now. And this is like a Waverly screen print. But people knew that her mother was a quilter. All these fancy designers and whatnot, they would send me little packages, or they take out some fabric for a line of something, whether it was pillows or upholstery or whatever. And then it wasn't used in the original design. And they had all these expensive samples. I also bought some architect samples and interior design samples when that interior designer was going out of business. And this is whoever made this fabric, and this was all hand tie dye. But anyway, I saved it for something special. I'm special, and I'm saving it all for me. I used to have a little piggy bank, like when the kids were little. I don't know if Sharita remembers it. It was one of those little metal piggy banks and you take the brown part out, and have Miss Piggy sitting up there all in pink, all her satin pillows. And she said, I'm saving it all for me. Yankee sister will tell you, I if I have this much fabric, I'm holding on to it. You should see these little pieces. But now I've got to finish up some stuff, which I'm going to go right now and show you how to make a binding, because those of you who are making this quilt, this is a scrappy, a crazy 8 fat quarter quilt that I designed myself because it's quick. You can make this whole quilt really in like 3 or 4 hours, this whole quilt top. Then you put the batting underneath and then the backing. Well, I didn't have enough of any of these fabrics to make a backing. I would have loved to have had any one of these pieces, especially this blue one. Oh, Gina, I love blue is my second favorite color. I would have loved, this is kind of like a teal blue. I would have loved to have enough of that, but I didn't. So what am I going to do? I'm going to piece them all together and make one. Let me see if I can get to the bottom of the chat. Okay, so Odom's in here. Hi, Odom. I was talking about you earlier, trying to get to the bottom. Okay, let's go create something. Well, I still got my 2 feet underneath me. So they gave us a list of stuff that I'm going to need after my surgery. So part of my prepping, I bought my own, and not just now, I bought it some time ago. I guess I have to sit on my old whoopee cushion because I didn't blow the new one up yet. So as part of my prepping, I bought my own. I like this angle better. I bought my own wheelchair, my own rolling walker. I'm not going to be using that thing. I have 3 of them in the garden already. Every time they do a surgery and I get a new walker, baby, ain't nobody got time for no walker. But my community garden is kind of far away, and it's down either a steep hill or a bunch of stairs. I'm not going to be using that. I'm going to be doing my squats just like this, and I have to do them slow and squat, and then I do squat. Watch this, bougie, and then up, then squat, then up, and that's how you keep these 75-year-old hips where they're supposed to be, sort of. Sort of. So what we're going to do today, I like this. You can see straight here, I figured out to move this way. So here is a leftover block from that same quilt over there. And we are going to put a binding on it. But first, what we're going to do is put a little bit more quilting on it. When you put batting in a quilt, see, this is the front side of this fabric. This is the front side of this fabric. And before you finish anything, you want to clip the strings, because when you actually start quilting it, you don't want the string to get tied up. When you use heavy duty thread, Rachel will tell you, unbiased, some of that heavy nylon thread, when it gets caught up, it's like a piece of wire. It is strong, 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 strong. So if I show you the back of this, you can see where I did something called stitch in the ditch. If you want to see how it's done, you can look at last week's live, but I want to show you up close. You can barely see the stitches. When you use batting, the manufacturer recommends how far apart you put your stitching. So this is just going to be a little table runner. I cut up the last block and did some stuff to it, pieced together some batting. This batting was like 3 or 4 inch scraps left over from quilts, and I put it together. So just so that I can show you guys what to do, some people take little pins. I actually like the curved pins. Let me see if I have any curved ones out here. No, I have a big case of curved ones, but you can, there are several ways to do a binding or your quilting. You can use pins. I like the small ones because this is a 1 inch pin, 1.5 inch, because there's not that much movement. When you put the fabric in here, when it's short, it can only move that far. It can only move that far. If you use a big pin like this and you start moving the fabric all around, it can slide all that distance. So you don't want that. If you're hand basting it, you can use, or hand quilting it rather, you can use big pins. When you're using it on the sewing machine, and I'll show you why, because I'm going to be lazy. I'm not going to put the darning foot on. I'm not going to put the embroidery foot. I'm not going to put the walking foot to do this little thing and have to reset the machine up. Take that screwdriver. I have limited tools here. So I have a short screwdriver. I saw Rachel at her machine with this big old long screwdriver. Somebody ought to buy their auntie a long screwdriver like that. You know I can't see aiming for this thing. I'll be stabbing everything trying to get the foot back on. So that I don't hold you guys up too long, I just put this regular everyday foot on, because for what I'm going to show you, I can still get the job done. So it's threaded. I'm not going to use any pins either because it's so small. I can I can move it with my hands. It's already stitched in the ditch. And then when you're quilting, the first thing you have to do is think of the purpose of the quilt. I always do the best that I can on any quilt, but if you're making a quilt for, say, a crib quilt, or something to go in the bottom of the playpen for the baby's first day of nursery, you don't need to do all the stuff that I do when I'm submitting a quilt for a fancy quilt show. It's not worth all of that. It's not, I mean, not financially, emotionally, yes. But, you know, it's like putting 24s, those fancy ribs. Oh, what did I have? Oh, one car years and years ago. My husband used to collect cars, and he had those two rancheros and some other stuff. I had one of the Woody Jeep, the big Grand Wagoneers. I had the lighted running board. I had a flying lady on the front of it. And I had McLean handmade wire wheels for 4-wheel drive. Was that excessive? HE two rails to the, yeah. I saw that vehicle after I sold it one day. I lived in LA at the time. I saw it in Beverly Hills. So let's go back to our quilting. So they recommend with this cotton batting, it's 80% cotton, 20% polyester. Why do I like this blend? First of all, because I like the way the cotton feels. It puffs up a little bit, especially after it's washed, and it's very lightweight, but it's really, really warm. It's really warm. I keep my quilts on the bed 24/7, 365. I have my AC on in the summer, and I it's temperature. It holds your body heat in, but it's not heavy. It's not heavy. The quilt, that king size quilt, that red and black one that I'm working on now, it's going to, actually it's finished, the long armor, because it's coming back to Connecticut, and the person who's buying it is from an island country. I'm having it double padded for the quilting. My mother likes heavy quilts. My mother likes heavy quilts. And the next one that I'm going to make for her, I have two twin quilts that I'm going to put together to make her a king size quilt like the very first one that I ever made her. So let's go back down to here. So this batting, they recommend that you quilt it 6 inches apart. So this or less, or maybe 8. So just so that I can show you how to do this, I'm just going to guesstimate. If I really wanted to know what the center of this is, I would just fold it. Fold it in half. Find out what the center is. And put a little pin. So I'm just going to put a little bit of extra, put the pin in straight. Put some extra sewing in this block and some in this one, just so that I can give you an idea of how to do it. You can use those fancy feet, the darning feet. Do I need to do it for a table runner that's going to have spaghetti and meatballs and gravy on it? Or some oxtail grease? No, we are not doing all that. So I'm going to roll this. Just roll this edge up just so that I can get it under the machine. I'm going to make sure that both the bobbin thread and the top thread are on top. Oh, look at this little sneaky one. You see how short it is? It would have broken or come out of the needle as soon as I started sewing. So hi, just checking on you. I'm going to put these in the back, and I'm just going to guesstimate about where it is. And I'm going to start in this corner, and you can do whatever you want. Like I said, I teach long arm quilting. I used to be vice president of the long arm club. This is not that serious. So I'm just going to put a couple stitches forward, a couple back. You don't really have to do it. I'm doing it because I want to. And I don't even have my quilting gloves because you don't really need it for something this small. So I'm just putting like just a little V. I'm going to move this pin. I never sew over pins. Some people do. So I'm going down near the edge. I'm just putting a V. Why? So that this doesn't roll up on the inside when it's in the washing machine. So I'm doing this just to show you. I'm going to come up in this corner and what I'm doing is kind of going around this flower a little bit. Is it going to be exact? No. Does it need to be exact? No. And you can twist it a little bit, some points, just so that it doesn't get too wrinkled up in the back. You can turn it, and you just make it do whatever you want it to do. So now I'm back up in the corner. When you're quilting, if you want to go back to where you started, you just make a loop. So I just made this one, and I think I'll just come around this way for no reason. Or just to show you how you can manipulate the fabric. Because we're just holding the 3 pieces of fabric. What is a quilt? A quilt is a fabric sandwich. So you will be able to see these stitches. So what am I going to do? I'm going to come out near this little white piece over here. And I'm just going to loop around, go this way. And then go back the other way. When you follow the outline of a pattern, it's called echo quilting. So like if you're following a line, if you wanted to, you could go along here parallel by keeping your presser foot along the line and go back. Am I going to do that? No. Why? Because it really doesn't matter. This is, like I said, a table runner. It really doesn't even need any extra stitching. I'm just doing it to show you guys what you can do if you want to. So now this, I didn't really want a whole lot of white stitching on the purple. Does it matter? No, because why? This is a table runner. It's not that serious. So I'm just going to come around here, sort of around the flowers. And I'm just making it up. I'm just making it up. That's all I'm doing. And you keep your hands, the stitching in the ditch kind of kept it straight. But what I'm angling on doing is going over in this corner near where there was another flower. Why? Just so that I can show you guys some of the things that you can do to hold it down. So this little flower has a little point. So I'm going to pretend I'm going to make a little point. Go down a little bit. Go up a little bit. See, if I had the darning foot, I wouldn't have to do this because a darning foot goes up, down, sideways. You can sew anyway, but it's not that serious. Why? Because this is a table runner, and I wanted to show you guys how to do a binding. That's why I'm doing it. And maybe how to do just a little bit of modified quilting. So what am I doing? I'm going to sew right off into the sunset. And that's it. Am I double stitching? No. Why? Because we're cutting all this excess off. Let me see what I missed in the chat. And you guys are so quiet. Do you have any questions? Okay, so now what we're going to do is this, for those of you, this is just a tiny little ironing board that I keep here by the sewing machine. Why? Because I have this tiny little iron. Do I like it? If I'm out somewhere and I don't want to carry a heavier iron, and I have this little silicone thing, they fit right together. I put it in my sewing case. When I'm teaching a class or traveling, watching the good work, Mike says, oh, thanks you guys. I just want to show you that it's doable and you could do it. And you know what? This is only thread and fabric. You can't mess it up. You know why? Because I won't get one on now. There are seam rippers. If the stitches aren't in there right, it's a pain in the behind. If you ever have to pull a lot of them out, you will be more careful the next time. And another thing, when you're quilting, don't make your stitches too small. Don't make them so that the edge, because I don't care how good you are, there's no perfect quilt. You're going to make a mistake. Something's going to go wrong. The thread's going to get tangled up. You have to pull it out. You don't want it to be so small that you can't get the edge of a seam ripper in there, because then you'll have to use like a razor blade or one of those razor cutters. Then you run the risk of cutting your fabric. Then you're going to have to make an ugly patch on it. Can you use it? Yes, you can use it. You know, there's nothing you can do that you can't fix in making a quilt. It's not like a piece of wood. It's not like a piece of wood where you cut the wood the wrong way and there's no way to splice it together. Where is the other one? You know what that is, you guys? This is funny. This is a tripod that I was supposed to be setting up so I could give you another angle, but I kept getting funny noises. So I'm like, oh, bump that. A little bit of a view is better than none. And I will be working on showing you guys that. Now, I just had two of these. So what we're going to do now is this. You see this? I just wanted you to show you. It's only a table runner. It's not going to curl up when we put it in the washing machine. Okay, because we have all this salvaged batting in here. This was a seam we sewed it across. This was a seam we spliced it. This was a seam we spliced it. This was a seam we spliced it. We may do with what we have. That's what you do in real life. That's what you do in real life. So now I'm going to take my scissors. I could use a rotary cutter. I'm doing it with scissors by hand. Number one, because everybody doesn't have a rotary cutter, and everybody should not be cutting with a rotary cutter because that's like a rolling razor blade. And trust me, I've seen pieces of body parts cut off. Look, I like this. This shows that it was some original fabric from Ghana. Do you think I'm going to throw this away? Oh, HE to the two rails. No, I'm going to be using this in something else. Hey, 10, the educated natural. Thank you for coming in. Welcome. Francesca is listening in the bushes and wanted to give a shout out. Love and blessings to everyone. Thank you. So you see this? The batting already fell off of it. I'm going to use this in a strip quilt. And this, remember when Yankee's sister showed us the pin cushion she made with the broken cup? This is what's on the inside. Auntie Ellen saves everything. Everything, everything, everything. I drive people crazy saving things, but I use them. I use them. So now that side is trimmed. We're going to just take the scissors and go down one of the long sides. I'm doing this to show you guys, don't be intimidated by this. Don't be afraid to do it. Just try it. Just try something, even if it's wrong. If it's wrong, it's fixable. It's just fabric and thread. See this? Boom. This is stuck a little bit. I just pulled it. So now here's another piece of a strip for a strip quilt. More batting. Now a batting this size, this is what I use in my key fobs and my lanyards. Something that big, anything over an inch I keep. Why? Because a half an inch or less, you need a quarter inch for a seam allowance, which is the normal seam allowance for quilting. So again, ta-da, 2 pieces of usable stuff. And now for the last side. There are several ways to do binding. And some people, the quilting police and special people, say to make it 2 1/4 again. Here's the fabric. Here's the batting. Some people make their binding 2 1/4 inches. I don't do that. Why? Because what are you going to sew with 2 1/4 inches? If I make it 2 1/2 inches, that's the same width as a jelly roll. I can sew them together and make other things. I cut perfectly straight. It's like kind of, like looking at an angle when you look down. Oh, you know what it's like when you look down a piece of wood and you're at the big box store and you're buying some 2x4s or something. You look just to see if it's straight. You just kind of get a guideline. If it was really serious, I would get my ruler, but it's okay. You learn how to sew the same way, a quarter of an inch. When you do it so many times, it's like you make a roux or something. You're making gravy. Do you excuse me? Do you measure 2 tablespoons of butter or fat and 2 tablespoons of flour? Nope. You get a spoon of it, cut a hunk of it, throw it in there, and you do it. That's what it's like. It's like making soup. It's a fabric soup. It's a fabric sandwich, actually. So, this is the front of the table runner. This is the back. Now, what did I do with the other piece of binding? Just one second. I had them both up here. Of course, it's neatly filed on the floor. Just where I left it, neatly filed on the floor. So yeah, this is like when you visit your old auntie. The everyday life. Just saw your chat. Oh, that's so funny. So this is a 2.5 inch piece of fabric. I took the liberty of already ironing it in half. So this is what I wanted to show you. I cut 2 pieces. Why? Because when you want to know like how much you're going to need. It's like if you bake a cake, how much flour are you going to need? How much sugar? So I took this piece and I measured approximately. So this piece is 23 inches. 23 and 23 is 46. Well, you already know that most fabric is not 46 inches, it's 44 inches. Plus, you have these two end pieces that are 12 and 12, 24. So I know that I need at least 2 pieces of fabric to make enough to go around this whole circumference of this little table runner. It's going to be cute. She's going to be cute. So, what you do is we're going to make a mitered corner. Now, we can sew these 2 fabric pieces together like this, end to end. I kept these little pieces on. I hate to waste them because otherwise you can't tell the front of this fabric from the back. See, this is the front. Here we go. Here's the front. Let me give you some more. Hang it down. That's the front, and this is the back. But I wanted to try to make sure that maybe when it's washed, it will make a difference. So you can sew it the way that you would normally put something end to end. But I'm going to show you an easier way. Francesca says I'm speaking her language, cooking and baking. I I cook and bake really well. I just don't anymore. Why? Because Sharita does it all, or her mother does it all, and my mother and I, the Queen Mom, we just sit and talk to each other while everybody else is doing it. So this is what I'm doing to make a mitered corner on the end. Rachel, unbiased, get your pencil, get something to write with. You hold this part straight and you put this one on a perpendicular. Okay? So let me do it this way. You hold this part straight and you take the new piece and you're putting right sides together, or as unbiased, put the pretty sides together. So I'm putting them so that they cross directly on a perpendicular. Okay? But I'm going to leave room. I could cut the ends off. Actually, I will, because I don't want to confuse you guys. I will cut these ends off now of the fabric because we're not keeping those. Normally I would do it in the next stage, but I want to keep it simple for you guys so that you can see this part is flat and the new part you put on the top. Then I put it down. So it's like a T or an L, maybe an L. I put a pin on the side because I know what I'm going to be sewing, and I can see where this side ends over here. I can see where the top ends. It's kind of hard to see with dark fabric. So I just eyeball it. But I'm not going to eyeball it for you guys. I'm going to take this piece of tailor's chalk and write the top and the bottom. And I'm going to use this just to show you guys. You guys can use a ruler. I'm going to draw a straight line, diagonal line from one corner to the other corner. Let me put you back where you belong because I'll be looking for you. So you see this? It's a diagonal corner. Now I'm going to exactly sew across that diagonal corner. Bye, baby. I hate to see you go. And I'm going to put it on the sewing machine and start in the northwest corner as if it was the northwest of the United States. Do a couple stitch forward, maybe a few more. Uh-oh, what was that? I heard a funny noise. It probably felt the tip of the pin. So I'm going to sew down that line I just showed you, and I'm going to pick it up. Pick it up and look at it, you guys. You pick it up. You know why? Because you want to make sure you're getting all those edges. Right? Those of you, so you want to make sure you get the edges. Then I'm going to backspace a little bit and then come down. Then I'm going to take it out of the machine and pull it out. There's some people who have little wedgies, little things like this that they cut the string. Ain't nobody got time for all that. It's not that serious. I have a little container over here. I don't even have to look up to reach it because it's been sitting in that same place for 6 years, and it's almost at the end of my arm's reach, out of the way so I don't knock it on the floor too many times. So see this? It's sewn on a diagonal exactly from corner to corner. Now when I pull this up, boom, look what happens. It's a perfect piece of fabric. By cutting it on the diagonal, you really can't even see where one ends and the other one starts. Look at this. It's like it disappears. So this extra piece, I'm going to cut off, all except for a 1/4 inch seam. These two little pieces, am I throwing them away? Oh, no, 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 no. Auntie Ellen has a little bag over here just for these little tidbits. What do I do with these little tidbits? I put them in here. This is what I make my postcards out of. And it's expensive, authentic African fabric. To put it in what trash? Oh, no, no, no. So, of course, she jumped on the floor. She jumped on the floor. She jumped out the window. So here's the seam that we just cut off. See where now you can kind of see the diagonal? See that? So then you open it up. Hello, Tampa's Creek Homestead. Thank you for coming and welcome. Then I'm going to put it down flat. Why? Because instead of going to iron it, and I use the zigzag scissors intentionally so I won't be trying to find the edges of this dark fabric, I'm going to finger press it. Finger press it. They're all kind of rollers and wooden things, but I've already pressed my fabric. See this? Again, I'm going to show you. It's like invisible. It disappeared. I've already pressed this before you guys came, and voila. So now I've got this piece of binding that is about 88 inches long. African Dreamin', thanks for coming and welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome aboard the GQUAT Garden Quilt and Art Tradition family bus. So here is the piece we're going to bind, and here's the binding. So now I usually hand sew my binding. I'm not going to tell you about this part. Francesca says she just wants to say she saw the video on the fabric postcard making and it was so encouraging. Thank you. I was trying to find it and get back to you. Hey, our Okie Homestead. Thank you for coming and welcome. Hey, our Okie Homestead. Do you see this? That's the sticker you sent me when I first came on YouTube, and I haven't been able to roll my coins up to get any stickers yet. But there's some people in here like Crafty Leo and Unbiased that make stickers. I will be paying them to make me some in the very near future. And it will be, this is my logo. And instead of traditions, it will say GQUAT Traditions. And I will be sending one out to everybody who was so kind to give me some. FR Humphrey, everybody doesn't have stickers. The MLB Fisherman, a bunch of those. I didn't forget. Just a little slow. Just keep living. Yankee Sister, a sticker is one of these things. They can be metallic. They have your name, your logo on it. The thing that Unbiased is making for you can be your logo, can be put onto one of these. It can be round. It can be any shape you want. It could be square. Hudson, I have Hudson's up there somewhere. She sent me one. And just keep peddling. Hey, Sissy Joanne Stevens. Hello, Butter Roll Boutique. So, because I'm doing this by machine, I'm going to sew the binding on from the back, because most of you have told me you don't want to hand sew. When you get ready to hand sew, I do most of my quilts because I show them or I keep them. I hand sew and I make little tiny stitches 1/4 inch apart by hand. And that's why I have to charge so much for the quilts, to get some of my time back for my labor. So what I'm going to do down here, hello, David. Thank you for coming and welcome. Crappa, thank you very much. So when you start binding, you never start in a corner. So this binding will be hard to see because why? It's the exact same color as the backing. So it's going to blend in. So, but before I even start on it, I'm going to leave about, I don't know, 10 inches before I even start sewing it down. And I'll show you why when I get around to the other side. Now I can clip this, which I think I will. Why? Because talking on TV, those of you, when I say TV, making videos and looking up, you're not really paying attention, and poop happens. It do. Poop happens. Sorry, mother, but poop really happens. So we're going to sew from this pin in the middle of one long side to a 1/4 inch from the corner. So what I'm going to do is a quarter inch, a 1/4 inch from the corner. I put a pin right there on the corner. Why? Because this fabric isn't stay stitch. It will slip. It will slip, and you think you're sewing them all together, and you're not. And when you turn it around, you got to go back and double stitch it. So that's why I'm putting the clips there, because I can see all 3 layers, and you see they're not actually flush, 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 flush. So I'm going to put the threads in the back and start sewing. What we're sewing is a machine binding on a quilt, and I'm going to start from that pin approximately. And I'm not going to sew to the end because this fabric might slip, right, Rachel? And then we can't catch it. And I'm going to increase actually the stitch length to 3 millimeters. So back we go. And I'm just happily roll along, roll along, roll along. And I'm trying to lift it up every so often to make sure that I have the top layer, the bottom layer, and the batting of the quilt, plus the 2 edges, of this folder. This is called double fold French binding. Why are we doing it this way? My grandmother used to just roll hers over, Maria, like the older quilts. They would hand roll those over. By doing it this way, this is the part that wears out first. When I show you my dad's quilt that I've been using every day, the memory quilt, for the last 10 years, you'll see the edges are all worn out. So no problem. So I back stitch when I get to the corner, pull it out. Okay, now I'm going to stand up because I want to see if I can show you guys. I'm going to fold this corner on a diagonal. It's hard to see because it's so dark. Actually, I'm going to trim this one up because I didn't trim it as close as I could have. So I'm going to, this is folded flat. I'm going to fold it on a diagonal like this. Can you see that? It's hard to see it with the dark fabric. Then I'm going to pull it straight down and just put a clip there to hold it. And I'm going to sew this side. I think I will put a couple clips in here so that if I look up talking, not paying attention, I'll have all of the layers there. Again, I'm going to stop a 1/4 inch from the corner. It's hard to see on dark fabric, especially. Okay, first I'm going to pin it a 1/4 inch from the end so I can see where to stop on this dark fabric. And I'm going to sew that. That'll be a quickie. It is a sturdy method. Thank you, our Okie Homestead. Hope all those babies are those little animals. Okie has a lot of animals, goats and horses and all kinds of stuff on her ranch out west. Okay, so again, I'm making sure I have both strings, and this bobbin is a drop-in bobbin. I can see that it's getting low, So the next time I stop, I might just change it just for the purity so that it doesn't run out. You hear how thick that is? Boom, boom, boom. Back stitching to the edge. Okay. I'm making sure I have the 2 pieces of the binding and the 3 pieces of the quilt sandwich all in here. I thought I put that pin in the 1/4 inch. What? I don't know what happened to you, but I'm going to mark it right there anyway. Maybe I took it out talking. Okay, back stitch, back stitch. And I'm hand turning the flywheel, the hand wheel. You guys, never turn the wheel, never turn this wheel on this side backwards, because that messes up the timing. And like, it's like say a train is chugging along this way. When you do it backwards, you're getting the gears caught where the tension is, and it messes up your timing. So again, I'm making this diagonal corner on this one. I finger press it down. Oops, I didn't get quite to the corner. Finger press it down. And I'm going to take this one out, put a little plug to hold it up. See what happens? I double checked to look. When I put that pin there, you see what happened? It pushed it back. So you just have to double check behind yourself and look to see, like, you see all the pieces are caught on both sides. So that's what you're checking for. All right, we're almost done, you guys, with putting it on the back. And it doesn't take this long. It's just that I'm talking and trying to show you what I'm doing. And here I'm going to start again. Back stitch. Check. I forgot to check on that. Check on that bobbin over there. Over there. So now I'm just opening up the seam that we sewed. This is where we spliced it together on the diagonal, just making sure that it didn't roll back and it stays flat. Is it a big deal? If it does, no, but it just keeps it flat so that you don't have a lump in the middle of your binding. And by sewing it on a diagonal, not only does it keep the line, you're not sewing over a bunch of heavy seams. So I'm just going to put a pin here just so that I can see where oops, this one's not all the way. I'm actually going to take it out, and I'll show you why in a minute. You have to keep checking. But you see this one? It slid down. I don't know if you saw this. Before I moved it, it had slid down, and it wasn't even. So I thought I was going to have to trim it and pull it up, but I don't. I just have to pull it up because I didn't have a pin in there to hold the fabric. I will do it now. Sometimes you try to do something to save time and it ends up costing you more in the end. And again, that little piece keeps curling up. So I will just hold it with my hand. 1 minute, you guys. I'm sorry. I can't really see the chat right now, but I will look in 1 minute. And moderators, if I missed anything, any questions, please, please let me know. My Renaissance grandma, hi, I didn't see you. Thank you. The prettiest fabric. I search for it. I search for it, and it's like, I don't know what it's like. It's almost like it's not an obsession because I can live without it. I just like it, and I save up for it, and I budget for it. I don't just go and spend my rent money. I don't live in a house anymore, so it's rent. But I don't spend necessities. I'm just checking to make sure I didn't go past that 1/4 inch. I can see where the 1/4 inch there by just judging it there. So, why? Because of Murphy's Law, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Okay, so this is, nope, the third one. I'm making the diagonal corner, finger pressing it down, and pulling it down. Going to put a little clip to hold it to make sure it doesn't roll under like the other one did before. Tried to. But Auntie Ellen knew what was going on. They tried that trick. Fool me once. Shame on what you, or fool me twice. Shame on me. I know that trick. So I'm holding all these edges together and peeking underneath to make sure that I have all 5 of them. Should I have pinned them? Yeah, probably. Probably. But I'm not. I'm living on the edge with you guys today. Living on the edge. But it's a calculated risk. This is not a show quilt. This is a table runner that's going to have marinara sauce on it, pizza, spaghetti, whatever. It's not that serious. Okay, this is the last one. We're coming in for the home stretch. Now, I'm going to show you something that's different this time. What did I do with the little flips? Okay. They're under there somewhere. I'm going to put a pin here because this is how you end it. So the end of, I'm going to go back and cut these strings. This yellow pin is where I started. So we have to connect these 2 pieces at the end. So I'm actually going to come down a little further because I don't want it to be too close to the end, and I need to cut a piece off. Anyway, is this going to waste? Nope. This is 2.5 inches by about 2 inches that's going in something else. See, we're not wasting that. It goes into the scrap pile. So what we're going to do, this is the, where's the chalk? I'm going to just mark it with chalk so that you can see it because the fabric is so dark. This chalk line is where the fabric ends. So we're going to go to this line and measure 2.5 inches. Why 2.5 inches? Because that's the width of the fabric that we're cutting. So 2.5 inches is here. I would do it with a ruler, but I'm actually using the ruler that's on the table. And I'm going to cut it. This is the leftover piece. So what are we going to do? We are going to take the binding. This is on the back for those of you who just came in. This is the right side. And we're going to put the right side of this one with the right side of the first one that we put the white chalk mark on. So remember before we made that little perpendicular cut, we turned it sideways. So we're going to do the same thing here. Let me see if it's even. Here's the corner of the diagonal. And then you see where the T is this time? This is the straight part. We put the new part on in the same square. I'm sorry, you guys, it's really hard to see with this fabric, but I'll put a chalk mark on here the same way, and I'll just eyeball a diagonal line, which is what I normally do. But I'm doing this for you guys with a chalk so that you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to sew along that line. Okay. And this is how, now, can you do this with just sewing end to end? Yes, you can. But it won't be as nice and it won't be as flat. You can do it any way you want to. It's your quilt, it's your piece. You can do whatever you want. I didn't know how to do this when I first started quilting. I've always known how to sew, but not quilting. It took me a while to get this little trick down pat. And I did sew the ends straight on together. Did the quilt police come and get me? No. They wouldn't have liked it if they did anyway. See, I'm that one. So I'm sewing on the diagonal, checking to see where the corner is. Back stitching. Okay. Yes, we're almost done with this part. So cut this tail. And I'm so excited to show you guys. So see, there's that little triangle again. I'm going to take and cut the excess off, 1/4 inch. Put these over in the scrap bag. And then I'm going to finger, where is it? This fabric's so dark you can't even see, and it's so invisible when you do this. You can't even see where you sewed it. So I'm going to open up the seam, finger press it. I want to show it to you guys up close. Can you see that? Where these serrated edges are? Because when I do it on this side, it's invisible. You can't even see it. That's the purpose of doing it. Then I fold it, and voila. I put it flat, look. Then you test it. It's the exact size that it's supposed to be to open it without seeing it. It's like invisible. Some people put glue on it. Some people glue it down. I don't do all that. Would it be helpful? I'm not sure. Different people have different things to do. Again, if this seems overwhelming to you, just get your little table runner done. No big deal. Just do it by sewing end to end, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll have a nice cable runner to use. I went off the edge that time. So we're just finished sewing the last part of the binding on and backspace. Now I want to show you the finishing. Ah, what? Oh my gosh! You guys forgot to tell me to change that the bobbin was coming out. I was so excited telling you all we were done. No problemo. You know why? No hay problemo. So I'll take this out. I love invisible plastic. It's like invisible clothes. So take the empty one out. I do this little trick sometimes. If I knew I was going to see you guys, so I'm going to put the empty one up. I use that little winding tool that I have, and I already have a bobbin wound. No biggie. So I will put it in here. Put the top back on. What did that take? 1 second? 2 seconds? Hold the tail up. Pull the wheel forward so that you can pull the bobbin thread up. Here it comes. And cut this string off. Some people save all these things and make things with. I have enough things in progress. I don't need to make any more. So it just happened to run out at the very end. So what am I going to do? We already know that it fits because it's like with wood, and you dry set it to see if it fits. So we just have this little bit from the corner to about 6 inches in. So I like to have a lot of bobbins pre-wound. When I teach classes, I don't let anybody in the class unless they have at least three bobbins wound, pre-wound. You know why? So they're not holding the class up while they're winding bobbins. Back up, go forward. And we already know this fits perfectly because we just sewed it without the thread, right? Invisible sewing. Invisible thread. Actually, they do have invisible thread. It's like clear nylon, almost like fishing thread, a little bit thinner. And I don't like it. It's polyester. Some people use it. And sometimes I use it for art quilts, like if I'm sewing somebody's face and I don't want them to look like the Bride of Count Dracula or something. Ta-da! Now I really did sew it. I really did. I did. I think I did. So we'll cut the strings from the new thread we started. Cut these threads from the very beginning. And look, you guys. So the binding is all attached. Now, sometimes you press it. Some people like to press it. You don't have to. Now what we're going to do, the binding's already here. We're just going to pull it forward. We're going to pull it forward and attach it down. Once we attach it down, this thing is completely finished except for what? I think I'll do my double stitching over here where it's on some of this dark fabric, not the light fabric. And you put your label on if you're selling it, and you're done. This part will go much faster because it's already attached. So I'm getting this under. It's really thick. We have all 5 stitches from before, plus we're pulling the back up to the front. And I'm using a number 3mm stitch length. I'm going to go forward a couple, back a couple. Look like I'm arm wrestling with this thing, right? I'm not. And I sew just inside. I'll show you in a minute. Am I measuring it? No, I'm eyeballing it. I'm sewing it like as close to the edge of this binding as possible to hold it down. Could I pin it? Yep, I could pin it if I wanted to. It's not that serious. It's a table runner. That's what it is. Barb Brownlee, peace, love, and blessings. Thanks for coming. So you guys, let's just get this mashed down over here. Put our pedal to the metal because this baby is ready for dinner. It's ready for Easter dinner. It's even Easter colors. It's Easter, but am I supposed to be working on this on table runners? No. I'm supposed to be working on my granddaughter's birthday present. Her birthday is next week, February 26th. So we're at the corner now. What we did on the other side, we're turning it in towards the inside and sewing it down the same way to get a mitered corner on the inside. So I'll show you in just a second. Could I clip this? Yeah, I could clip it. I don't want to. I'm just going to turn it under until you get used to it. I would suggest that you clip the ends. I'm just going to hold it with my fingers. What's hard is I don't know. I'll hold it up in a second. See how nicely this looks? You see how nicely this looks? And you're not hand sewing. Why? Because it's a table runner. It's not that serious. You could do it if you want to. I don't usually backstitch here, but I'm going to because I don't know if I got that corner. Sorry about my arm, but I really have to hold it there to make sure that I'm holding this down. Some people, I'll pretend this is a glue stick. I actually have glue sticks. Some people take a glue stick and put under the edge. It's not necessary. You can do it if it makes you happy. Whatever floats your boat. Whatever floats your boat. So I'm folding it down and holding it, finding the foot pedal, and this quilt. It's like actually a mini quilt. A table runner is just a mini quilt. So I'm turning it under, flipping the string. No need for that clip there. Turning it under. Are there any questions? Hey, Nancy R. Treasured Home. Barb Brownlee's leaving work. She said the Bride of Frankenstein. Erica Taylor says pretty. Thank you, you guys. But guess what? Remember what it was? This is the extra block that I accidentally made from that purple quilt that was sitting behind me a few seconds ago. So now we're at the corner. I'm making sure I've got it all pulled over nice and tight so that I can flip the corner up and miter it. Okay. I might do one back stitch. Okay. All right, you guys. We're almost done here. Why are you way over there? All right. Almost done. I can't wait to show you guys. Can't wait to show you. We're coming in for the home stretch. We're at the 3/4 mile pole, the track, the racetrack. I used to go to the racetrack a lot. I used to have horses, not horses that ran in races. They weren't that fast, but we had a couple quarter horses, thoroughbreds, and one quarter horse. They were nowhere near fast enough to be in any of the big races, but we'd like going seeing other horses. My brother, my baby brother, reminded me of something. One summer, he came to live with me, and he was supposed to be going to basketball camp. I told you my brothers are very tall. My brother Bill played lacrosse at Tufts University. Actually, he was captain of the lacrosse team. The only black guy I ever knew played lacrosse and captain of the lacrosse team back in those days up at Tufts and at his prep school in New Hampshire, the New Hampton prep school. But my baby brother came, and I have an adopted daughter, not really adopted, just took her in. She's like a daughter to me. And they stole my car. They stole my car and went to the stables all day, like 6 hours. 6 hours. I wanted to choke both of them. Both of them. He reminded me of that. Hey, sis, remember when I took your car? Yeah, Joe, I remember. I remember. My Marine Corps brother. I forgive him. I forgive him. So we're coming down the fourth side, other than when we started, and this baby is done. I almost forgot to put the foot down. Talking. Now, if I had ironed this down with a big iron, I wouldn't be fighting with it so much. It would be easier and lay flatter. But guess what? This is a table runner. It's going to have oxtail juice on it, marinara sauce. It's not that serious. I'm just doing it to show you guys how to do it. Or you could do the other way that I've been showing you, just a flip and sew, no binding whatsoever. You don't have to put binding on here at all. It's just if you want to. It depends on you and what you want. I'm just showing you various methods of finishing quilts and tops. It's up to you. It's your prerogative. Guess what, you guys? 6 inches and the job is done. We can get in our cars and go home. All right, now you get over there. So this is how you put a mitered binding on a quilt. Let me put this down because this edge is catching this edge. I'm going to cut these 2 strings and we are done. All we need is the label. And she is done. Ta-da! So you guys, let me get a tissue and wipe my eye. I'm not, but okay. So hi. If I missed anybody, I apologize. But look what we did. Dun, 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 dun. We took a leftover quilt block and made this beautiful double-sided runner. I made my sister Joanne something. This this piece this piece was a 2 yard piece, of this fabric that I bought, and I put some on the back of a table runner for her house. After I pieced the front, she liked this side the most, but it's her prerogative. And see where I put that little one? So what do you guys think about that? Yay! We did it. Did I see Bayou Sugar in here? Hello. Thank you for coming. I thank each and every one of you. A thumbs up. I can't believe it's been 2 hours. I think this might be a record, you guys. But I wanted to show you everything. And this is now a table runner. So I wanted to thank each and every one of you for your support, everybody on the channel. Do you have any questions before we end? Any questions? I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Matches all my colors. I need to keep it. Can't keep everything. I might sell it. I might do a giveaway. Thank you. So I want to thank each and every one of you. I appreciate you. In American Sign Language, this is an I. This is an L. This is a U. Do what you love and love what you do. I love you. Ego amote, mother. Ego amote, mommy. Thanks, everybody. The GQUAT family. Thank you and good night.